What's up, guys? Here with another video, and in this video I'm recording straight from my iPad, and I'll be talking about the NBA, right? How's the season so far, stuff. But boy, like there's been a lots of blowouts lately. I know we're just a quarter way into the season, and because we're 25 games in, so that means John Moran should be returning back very soon and stuff after his stupidity. But yeah, but there's been a lots of surprises. Like I told you, this year is totally different from last year and stuff. I mean, there's just a lot of things to talk about in general, from all 30 teams. But yeah, I know it's early in the season, but things can change right away. Just like what happened last year. The Utah Jazz were the hottest team in the NBA, and then they eventually dropped out. So yeah, so I'll be talk. So let's talk about the East Coast real quick. Okay, the East Coast first, because they're not as good as the West. The West is like crazy, man. It's like, yeah, there's just a lot of unpredictable things happening, a lot of surprises. That's what get the NBA interesting. And players, like, yeah, I think I better talk about the Draymond Green thing, very soon in this video, because that's huge, and but yeah, I talk about the average differential, the 3-point and also I gotta look at more statistically. So anyway, let's talk about these. The Boston Celtic, they're not surprising. They're number one. Is because their defense is insane, right? I mean, having current average differential of almost 9 points, and they are the only team that hasn't lost at home. Like, everyone else lost on the road. And yeah, I started looking both East and West record, and I can see that a lot of team losses comes from the road. So a lot more teams are playing more secure at home. So that's something I like to point out there. So yeah, the Milwaukee Bucks offense is a juggernaut, but they don't play, but they lost a lot of defense, so that's why the Milwaukee Bucks are struggling. And the Philadelphia 76ers, ever since they get rid of James Harden, like, they've been like steamrolling teams, just steamroll. But they have easy schedule. The point differential is like almost 12, but yeah, they play a lot of easy teams in there. But I want to talk about the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic was a surprise. Like, they just got so many good players. They draft so many good players. Like, they play really good defense, but they just play mediocre on the road. But they're like almost undefeated at home, like 11-2. So yeah, that's a very young, dangerous team. They should be in the playoff. The rate they're going, they may drop a little bit, but they should get at least in the play-in tournament. And the Miami Heat, I thought they're gonna be a disappointment, but yeah, not surprised that they're gonna be in the playoff. That's not surprising there, And you got the New York Knicks, kind of like iffy team. They're pretty good as well. You got the Indiana Pacers that has one of the top offense in the league, but their defense is really bad. They score 127 points, but that's about to drop in, like it says, beginning season, and they give up 126 points per night. So yeah, that team is, they have Halliburton and all stuff, and you got the Cleveland Cavalier. They may have Donovan Mitchell issues. That's why I overheard. I cannot follow all 30 teams. It's just too much. I'm just recapping. And you got the Brooklyn Nets, kind of play okay there. Like, in the mid pack, and you got the Toronto Raptors. 10 of 15. They've been just up and down, up and down. This team is inconsistent. I've been following them a little bit. You got the Hawks. No idea what happened to them, but they gave up 122 and they score 122. The Chicago Bulls been a disappointing team. If I was them, the Chicago Bulls should just blow it up, honestly. They've been struggling. You got the Hornets, that just got a 53-point blowout just yesterday. Like, this NBA season is freaking... Yeah, I wonder, like, why, this NBA season gets kind of boring stuff, but... I'll be talking about why there's been lots of blowouts lately. Like, it's just absolutely insane. You got the Washington Wizard. Like, I picked the Hornets and the Wizard to be close to the worst team in NBA, but I was wrong. I was close enough, but the Washington Wizards defense and offense both really bad. Like, the Washington Wizards just like, oh my, they have a Jordan Poole and lots of other problems, and you got the Detroit Pistons that's on a 23-game losing streak. And I gotta talk about the Pistons. To me, the Pistons are supposed to be a lot better than I thought, because they have Monty Williams stuff. But the front office and the owner team, like, I know Detroit's not a good place to go to, but this team is just having a lot of issue, man. They have backup structure. They don't play defense well. Like, they have an average. They're getting blown out like almost every single game. The Detroit Pistons looks like the new Charlotte Bobcat. Maybe even worse. Because now in this era, like, this is a much weaker and softer era in the NBA. It's like why, a lot of teams are not scared of US. Because the NBA's been soft. It's been really damn soft. And you cannot buy a win. It's not like the Detroits are tanking. I've been following Detroit, but they are actually trying to win. And they just couldn't get a single W, man, in this weak era. Now, if you put them in the old era, then I can see they easily lose a 30-game losing streak. They're on a 23-game losing streak. Like, the Spurs just snapped their losing streak yesterday, and it was against, ironically, the Lakers. Lakers, I will talk about the Lakers soon, but this is not looking good for the Pistons, man, and I'm feeling like they have a very good chance of beating records. So they play against the Atlanta Hawks. Their schedule not getting easier. They better win against the Utah Jazz. I think the Jazz are also a tanking team. I mean, if they cannot beat the Jazz, then they're in huge trouble, because Brooklyn's are mediocre. The schedules are not going to get easier after Utah. I think Utah may snap the Detroit Pistons, longest losing streak. The Pistons has never lost like 20 games in a row. They got Brooklyn, Boston, Toronto, Houston, Utah again. Yeah, but I don't think they can beat Houston. They only have like they only have like 1 or 2 winnable game, and I feel like if they let that game slip away, they're not gonna win anytime soon, And they don't play against the Spurs until January the 10th, so yeah, so they might extend their losing streak to 30, and if the Detroit Pistons do not win on the December 30 versus Jazz, they might go, winless. They may not win a single game since, being Chicago Bull until, New Year, and that's freaking insane. And we're 14 days away from New Year. I'm like, I couldn't believe what's happening to the Pistons. I just couldn't believe it, man. they are one of the worst offense in scoring and giving 120 points. Their defense is probably worse than the Pacers right now, honestly. You know, it's because they get blown out every single game. Team may not want to try hard on them. That's just how bad this team is. Like I'm just casual, you know. But if you are truly a fan, you look into it. That 120 point could have been like 125, 130, but Detroit Pistons defense is so bad. They didn't have a lousiest coach. They have Monty Williams. And Monty Williams is a really good coach, and they couldn't get a single dub in this offense. That's why this team has to be the worst. I think if this team faced against a Charlotte Bobcat like 2012 or 2011 Bobcat, they're even worse than the Bobcats right now. To be serious, like, yeah, man, the Charlotte Bobcats. Okay, so let's go to the West. 11 minutes of video. That's a little too long, but yes, 15 teams, like I said. Okay, so the Minnesota Timberwolves, I knew they're gonna be dangerous. Just the way they looked last year, I knew they're gonna bounce back. After losing being Denver one time, they potentially could have drag out to game 6. Their defense was the number one reason why, and they only have one home game loss. And you got the Oklahoma City Thunder. That should not be surprising. I knew they're gonna shock the NBA. Just how young they are, and their offense and defense is absolutely, like skyrocketing, man. Like Shalas, Alexander, but the Oklahoma City Thunder do have an issue. I want to talk about, this Giddy guy, having problem with this girl, like he may not be NBA, but it's not gonna affect them that much. But this Thunder will still have a bright future. But yeah, they have a little player issue, named Gilly, and also yeah, that's another thing. There's just lots of dramas and clowns running in the NBA, and you have the Dallas Mavericks, that has Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic expect to be where they are. They surprised me a little bit, winning here and there. And you got the Denver Nuggets. Losing Bruce Brown was a big thing, so I don't think they're going to be first. But they're right now 4th. And the Sacramento Kings, they're an up and down team. I see them, they're inconsistent. And you have the Clippers that were, struggling in the, beginning of the season. And then, they just, figure things out. Westbrook's okay in the bench, and this team is weird. I mean, not weird, but yeah, they were out of the playoff and playing, and now they're like the 6th seed. They're on a 7-game winning streak, and they potentially could extend it, but winning on the road, it's very difficult. They got Pacers, they got a tougher schedule, so they're pretty much gonna lose soon. And you got the Houston Rocket, that is a big surprise there. Having Udoka there, changing the culture of this team, the young team. Like their defense, they're probably the top defense in the NBA right now, the Houston Rocket, right? After having this yapping Dylan Brooks there. And you got the Los Angeles Lakers, that just lost embarrassing Spurs. Darvin scam, Yeah, that's another thing with a coach, right? But Lakers, I mean, Darvin Ham's supposed to be a good coach, but he looks like more like a Darvin scam, Talking to the Laker fan, Darvin spam scam. So, yeah. And you got the New Orleans Pelicans, having a really fat Zion, lazy Zion. In the play-in tournament, the Lakers absolutely blew them out of the Pelicans. And you have the Phoenix Suns having so many injury problems. They're a 10 seed, and you got the Golden State Warrior that's like falling apart. You know, gave up multiple huge lead. They almost gave up a game yesterday. Like they gave up like 18, 20 point lead. They almost lost to the Brooklyn Nets. But I saw them like they almost let like 20 points, and then the Brooklyn Nets like got it back to like almost, you know, they almost like, you know, even out the game. The Utah Jazz tanking, Memphis Grizzlies. They just need Ja back soon, you know. They need, you know, real leadership there. And the Blazer and that Spur, you know. I'm kind of not surprised that Portland and the Spurs, you know, they're just probably tanking again. So I think the reason why I feel like the Spurs are not trying, you know, but they were doing pretty good, but then, you know, they've been on a massive losing streak. Victor Wembanyama, I knew he just, you know, inconsistent, but I'm hoping he'll be better next year. So it's never too late, you know, things can change right away. So let's get into, you know, the stats right now. Team statistic. Let's go to overall, you know, league. So the Indiana Pacers. So who has the worst, you know, defense in the NBA? It's obviously the Washington Wizards and the Pacers. Now the best defense in the NBA is the Houston Rockets and Timberwolves. Those are the, like, defense wins championship in the NBA, guys. Like, there's no other way around it. You scoring 130 points per night per game, but don't play well defense, you're not gonna win games. You're not going to win very many games if you score 120 points per game, because that tells me that you're not going to focus on defense, right? Yeah, the Orlando Magic, the Boston, the only reason why these teams are surprising you is because of their defense, right? Just allowing opponent not to, you know, score so much. And then you got the NBA, you know, in-season tournament. I'm gonna explain that real quick. So yeah, let's see. In-season tournament result. Yeah, I don't know. Let's not talk about statistics like 3-point and all that stuff. Is because it's irrelevant. I want to talk about in-season tournament because that's new. You know, statistics always like the same every year. You know, I mean. Generally, let's talk about why a lot of NBA blowouts been happening, you know, from a casual perspective for two main reasons. One, because a lot more teams are playing lack of defense. The NBA is goddamn soft. And two, you know, lots of 3-point. When you keep jacking up so many 3 points and turning the ball over, you know, fouling and all that stuff, ridiculous stuff, then obviously, you know, the point differential is going to get really huge, right? If you don't shoot well from 3-point, if everybody, like, this team keeps banging up 3 after 3 after 3, the point differential is not going to shrink. It's going to get big. And we've been having a 50-point blowouts like 3 times into the season, and we're barely a quarter way in. What does that say a lot to you? Because a couple years ago, the Oklahoma City Thunder got blown out by 70 points, by at least. And that has not been broken for almost 30 years. Right? Against the Memphis Grizzlies. And I feel like a 60-point blowout will not be surprising. A 60-point blowout does not, you know, occur or lead in the NBA. Like, not even a 6-point lead. Usually the point blowout is less than the lead. Usually that doesn't happen, but now it's probably going to get more frequently as time goes on because how soft the NBA is, and like all these freaking rule change and all the, you know, the gap, you know, between the top team and the lower team just gets bigger and bigger. So there's going to be a lot more blowouts. Honestly, having say 3 50-point blowouts wouldn't be surprising if you see a 60-point lead very soon, but it won't be a 60-point blowout. So the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers just the Lakers also a very weird team because they just I feel like they don't care much about the regular season. They just go whenever they want to. They're 7-0 in the in-season tournament, right? They're 7-0. Let's talk about the 2003 to 2000. Just trying to search up. I just forgot what the standing looks like. Yeah, so let's see the in-season tournament. Okay, so I just talk about the score. I'm not gonna talk about the game because it's just too much detail. I think that a lot of people are hating on the Lakers. They say that they got the easiest schedule. The Lakers been blowing out all the team, but yeah, they were easy. They play the Utah tanking, Blazer tanking, the Memphis tanking, and they play against a lot of team that has problems. So you got the Lakers versus Sun, West quarterfinals. The Lakers won 106-103 versus Suns, and the Suns are actually not a good team this year, and they may not make it the playoff. And you got the Kings versus Pelicans. Yeah, the Kings are still a pretender, but they're getting better. And then 10-point win, and then the Lakers absolutely beat the hell out of the Pelicans, 44 points. And you got the Bucks versus Knicks. It looks like the Knicks are fraud. Like they play well defense, but they do give up some 140 points, so that's explains a lot there. And Celtic versus Pacers. And I'm surprised that the Pacers surprised me a little because of their offense, even though they gave up a lot of points, but 128 to 119 versus Bucks stuff. They beat the Celtics, which is a good win for the Lakers because Lakers really hate the Celtics. And then you got the Lakers versus the Pacers. Congratulations, Lakers. You won the in-season tournament. You're the first team to win this tournament. This is why I like the Lakers the best. They're the most classiest fan base, even though they're high in criticism. They're going to win number 18 before Boston. They're the best franchise in the NBA, and they're the number one reason why they got me into the NBA in the first place. So you Lakers deserve it, But then, I feel like this team is just weird. They just show up whenever they want to, but yeah, I think because of Andy Davis. But yeah, if the Lakers win the in-season tournament, that means, so how do you qualify for quarter, final rounds, and championship in the in-season tournament? Like, you just need a good record there. That's all you need. And Lakers going undefeated is massively insane. The Lakers can be a dangerous team, but in the regular season, they just don't show it, right? Because of injury stuff. As long as they're healthy, they're not going to be an easy team to beat. They're going to be a very tough team, so yeah, so I'm going to have to, end off video here. Like, comment, and subscribe, But yeah, I'll upload this video soon. Bye-bye. Sorry I'm, back in the video, but I promised I'd talk about Draymond Green, and I almost forgot to talk about Draymond Green, right? How I'm reacting to this, and is it surprising? No, right? I mean, Draymond Green, getting banned in the NBA, all stuff, so I think I made 23 video talking about, regular season for sure, but now we have to talk about the Draymond Green, right? And how the NBA is move on here. So why, banning Draymond Green, banning, Draymond Green for the NBA is necessary. Well, obviously he's been hitting players, choking players, stomping on them. He's the one of the nastiest players, aside from Patrick Beverly. I think a lot of people in the opinion say that Patrick Beverly is the one of the most dirtiest talkative players in the NBA. But Draymond Green, I know he's a funny guy, all stuff, outside the the NBA thing, but he's been causing a lot of drama in the NBA, and I think the Warriors should have got rid of him, right? Telling you, dude, they should have traded this guy, and I heard that potentially Warriors gonna move off from him. The Warriors been hurting because of Draymond Green issue, right? I mean, he choked Rudy Gobert, he hit Nurkic in the face, he knocked out Jordan Poole, and he stopped on Sabonis, and he kicked people in the groin. Draymond Green, man. Like, people say that he needs to go get help. He needs to, to fix himself. I do agree with that. In life, you just cannot do that, right? Because if regular pedestrians do like me or somebody else do like that, we can definitely go to jail for that. Because that's considered as assault. I mean, yeah, like this, you cannot have players, physically, hitting them, right? Even though they don't want to fight back. I mean, I heard like a lot of teams that are afraid to fight Draymond Green or fight back, Draymond Green will hit them. But if a player willing to fight back, then Draymond's not going to hit them, right? I understand that. I can see why people are defending Draymond Green, but it can't be defended anymore. But I know he's trying to defend Klay Thompson because Rudy Gobert did something to Klay Thompson, and he tried to protect Klay Thompson, and somehow, like, he get 5-game suspension, right? I mean, the NBA had enough of this, this, fool, this Draymond fool. And I know that the Warriors are now, like, Curry Prime, this team was a defending champ, and now, they're not even the play-in. And they're not going to get better anytime soon, Their dynasty is officially over. The Golden State Warriors. I mean, Draymond Green is banned from NBA, and that means he'll no longer play in NBA. He's banned and stuff. Yeah, I seen that they compared me to Dennis Rodman, may even compare to Ron Artest. I saw what happened in 2004. I was way too young to watch, but I watched much later in my life. I mean, there's some players that are still worse than Draymond Green. But yeah, like, even though the NBA's been pretty lenient, it's not surprising me they get banned because it's hurting the product. You're supposed to be professional, right? Let me get this straight here. You're supposed to be professional. You cannot act like a little, immature adults, go around and hit people, right? This is because of the Draymond situation, This is the number one reason why I need to go see therapy, Even though I have not been acting normal lately, right? I mean, it's good not to act normal, but just common sense, there's certain things you can't do, If you do certain things, you will get yourself in trouble. That's all I can say, right? And I know Jordan Poole, the people that Draymond hit, these players, it's affecting their career. You know why? Because Draymond just hit them, like knocked them out. Like, they're just not the same anymore. They couldn't focus. Like, they still have that drama and damage, that's been, haunting them. I think Jordan Poole left the Warriors because of him. And Kevin, the Warriors would have won more championship if that Draymond wasn't a fool. I think he cost the Warrior at least one championship, in my opinion. But for Warrior fans, maybe it's like multiple because they got rid of Kevin Durant, Jordan Poole. I think like several players, probably like more. I think there's more players that I don't know about probably left the Warriors for no reason. It's probably because of Draymond, right? Yeah, like I heard that the Warriors need to get rid of this guy, man. Honestly. And if the Warriors still doesn't get better from Draymond, they may just, blow it up. I know Steph and Klay trying to defend him, but if they're just not happy, the Warriors just should blow it up. They already have 4 championships. They cannot keep this toxicity, man. Honestly, it's hurting them. You don't want toxic player in the locker group. Just like it reminds me of Westbrook, right? With the Lakers last year. The Lakers was absolutely horrendous, with the Westbrook toxic. Now, if Draymond Green becomes like Westbrook, just like what Westbrook did to the Lakers, we have to get rid of no matter what Steph and Clay said. Like, I'm pretty sure, they have conflict too, but they just don't show it. Well, we just don't know what's going on with, Draymond Green there. Right? A lot of people hate Draymond Green. This is the reason why, they want the Warrior dynasty. A lot of people hate Warrior because of that Draymond guy. Right? I mean, let me talk about Dylan Brooks. A little off topic, but this is what Dylan Brooks said, a few months ago. He said that if you put Draymond on another team, he'll be so irrelevant. I mean, kind of partially agree with that because, all he does is just like talk, but he's a great defender and stuff, but I feel like he does very little I feel like he caused more trouble than, contribute about the Draymond Green situation, right? Because if Draymond keep playing dirty like this, all players are going to get injured and stuff, and it's not going to look fun in the NBA. It's going to look bad, and potentially NBA might get sued, and he might get sued. Like if he really injured that player could have sued Draymond Green, and he may even go up in jail one of these days if he doesn't stop. But yeah, I'm not a Draymond fan. I'll never be a Draymond fan, to be honest with you. I'm more like LeBron. I have a Curry jersey, but if there's a Draymond jersey, I'm not gonna get it. They probably don't want to sell it because this guy is acting like a berserk fool. So yeah. But I want to end it off here, and I'll add these two videos up. I almost forgot about Draymond because everybody's now looking towards that Draymond Green and send a message in the NBA like these players better not become like him. That's just my thought about Draymond.